Lección 5. Vamos a repasar las compras, cómo ordenar comida en los restaurantes, los verbos y los colores. Vamos a aprender el alfabeto, vamos a hablar de latinos famosos. Vamos a ordenar comida de una pizzería argentina y pues vamos a leer un poco de Argentina también. Y claro, mucha más conversación. Do you know your alphabet?
Yeah, sí.
Okay, go ahead and say it.
B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V,
Good. V.
W,
V doble.
double.
Yeah.
I thought I remembered W.
And you might have learned it that way. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay. Xis,
X.
Y,
Yay. Mm-hmm.
yay. Zeta.
Cool. Real quick, I just created this little kind of color coordinated guide to the alphabet. You've pretty much got it, so we can kind of skip over this. As I mentioned, so you mentioned that you learned it W. I'm not surprised. The alphabet kind of changes from one country to another, so it depends on where you learned Spanish or who you learned it from. Also, there was a change to the alphabet officially by the Royal Spanish Academy out of Madrid. So the alphabet I teach is the official alphabet.
Okay.
There's a few things. Before 2010, the B and the V were called the B Grande and the B Chica, and after 2010, they changed it to B and Ube. Okay.
Okay.
You know, depending on who you're talking to, you might hear it both ways. The Y used to be called the Y, and now it's called the Y.
Yeah, that's me.
You heard it called the Y before, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And still, it's going to be one of those things. Most Spanish speakers that you talk to, if they are, I don't know how old you are. I'm 37. I'm guessing you're similar to age as me.
Yep.
If you're talking to somebody from our generation or older, they are not going to use the new way. Right? So that's one of those things. The W, right? Before 2010. And then after 2010, it's the Ube doble. And then they also eliminated the double letters. There's no more Che, Ege, or R on the official alphabet.
Okay.
So this is the correct alphabet as of 2010. Just keep in mind, you know, there might be some variations.
Yeah.
So you learn the alphabet so that you can spell. Typically speaking, spelling in Spanish is really easy. Spanish is a phonetic language, so just as long as you know the vowels, you should be able to spell most words. The few things that you definitely want to make sure you know how to spell is, like, imagine if you're checking in at the airport in Argentina, you know, and you introduced your name as Jason. So like phonetically in Spanish, that's going to sound like maybe Y-E-S-O-N, Jason, right? You're not getting on that airplane if they spelled your name with a Y.
Right.
So, you know, and you did this on the evaluation, I think. You already know how to spell, como se deletrea, how do you spell? So we'll just practice real quick with this. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Jason.
¿Y cómo se deletrea tu nombre?
Se deletrea de mi nombre es Jason.
All right, so the J is Jota.
Jota, yeah, Jota.
J-A.
Jasa. Good.
Real quick, you said, so when I asked you what your name was, you introduced yourself as Hassan. Is that normal? Because I've never heard that before.
Oh, I just, because you had said that, I wanted to make sure they spelled my name right.
Okay, so you did modify that. I didn't know, because you said
Yeah.
your wife is Peruvian.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does she call you?
Oh, Jason.
Jason. Yeah. I mean, that's like a lot of names. Like my name, David, in Spanish is David.
Yeah.
Directly, I don't know the name Jason in Spanish, or if there is a Spanish equivalent. So I didn't know when you said Hassan if that was something that you were.
No, I hear either Hassan or Jason.
Yeah. Okay. ¿Cuál es tu apellido?
Mi apellido es Yutzler.
¿Y cómo se deletrea?
V, T, S, L.
Real quick. Ube is the letter V as in Victor.
Oh, it's U.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, U, T, S, L, R.
So the E is pronounced A.
A.
Yeah.
A, R.
Okay. ¿Cuál es tu correo electrónico? And when you're given an email, it's helpful to know that the @ symbol, you say arroba. In how we normally say .com, in Spanish you would say .com.
What was the @ symbol again?
Arroba. And that's a
Arroba.
little red box here for you.
Oh, okay. Got it. Mi correo electrónico es jasonyutzler@gmail or @gmail.com.
Okay, muy bien. All right, so real quick, we're just going to take a look at a little dialogue for going shopping in Spanish, okay? Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Necesito un libro.
Muy bien, ¿de dónde eres?
Soy de Colorado, ¿y tú?
Soy de Buenos Aires. ¿Hablas español muy bien?
Gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta todo?
El libro cuesta 20 pesos.
Perfecto. Llevo todo.
Good. Real quick, I'm just going to introduce you to the Argentine way to say this because I know you're going to Argentina. I wouldn't normally teach this.
Okay.
So Argentina uses something called vos. It does not use the to form. So when you get to Buenos Aires, they're not going to say de donde eres. They're going to say de donde sos.
¿De dónde sos?
Yeah, this threw me off completely when I first got to Argentina because I had never learned that before. So just know that when you get to Argentina, they're going to say de donde sos. In this, like, so you'd say soy de Estados Unidos. Instead of responding y tú, you're going to respond y vos.
¿Y dos?
Vos, V-O-S.
Oh, vos.
Y vos.
Okay.
Another difference you're going to hear in Argentina is it's very rare that they use the word español. They almost always say castellano.
Castellano?
Castellano.
Castellano.
So here they wouldn't say hablas español muy bien. They would say hablas castellano muy bien.
Hable castellano muy bien. Muy bien.
And I'll give you a perfect example. The first time I got to Buenos Aires, I got out of the airport, I went and got a taxi, and I was taking it. I was living with like an Argentine family, so I just had the address. I got in the taxi, and I'm thinking I'm pretty cool. I've studied Spanish for like 2 years at this point. I've been living in Florida. I had friends that were Dominican and Venezuelan, and I could talk to them, no problem, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I get in the taxi, and, the guy says, ¿A dónde vas? And I just hand him the little piece of paper, and he says, hola, ¿cómo estás? And I say, hola, estoy muy bien. And he says, vos hablas castellano re bien, ¿de dónde sos? And I said, I heard that and I said, no hablo castellano, hablo un poco de español. ¿Qué es castellano? The guy's like, no, castellano, español. It's the same, it's lo mismo. And so I was like, oh. And I was like, ¿de dónde sos? No entiendo. And, ¿de dónde venís? And I'm like, ¿de dónde venís? And he says, sí, ¿de dónde vienes? And he put it into the to form for me. I was like, soy de estado. So I learned very quickly, like, oh, wow, there's a different thing here. So get ready for that, for when you go down to Buenos Aires. The Spanish you're going to speak in Peru is not going to be the same Spanish you're going to speak in Argentina.
Great. Oh.
So I'm just going to kind of, mention that stuff for you. When it comes to a dialect like that, that's a true, I think, in my opinion, a true change of dialect. You can get away with using the to form. You will be understood. Just know that nobody else is going to use the to form with you. They're going to use the vos form with you.
Okay.
So I can teach you the vos form just as much as you want me to, or we can stick to the to form.
Yeah, let me ask.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to ask my wife what she wants me to do. If she wants me to learn, you want me to learn the vos?
I mean, she's going to tell you too, because she's from Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I should just skip that because of timing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she says, stick with the to.
Yeah. It'll just help you for when you get down to Buenos Aires, so you're not completely lost.
Yeah.
All right. ¿Cuántos años tienes?
Tengo 43 años.
¿Te gusta el fútbol?
No me gusta el fútbol.
Okay. Bien, está bien. ¿Qué deporte te gusta, Jason?
Me gusta jugar al tenis.
Muy bien, perfecto. ¿Qué te gusta hacer?
What do you like to do? Me gusta me gusta cocinar.
Bien. ¿Estás casado?
Sí, estoy casado.
¿Por qué hablas español?
Hablo español porque mi esposa es peruana.
¿A qué te dedicas?
Dedicas.
So this is the one, what do you do for work?
Oh, yeah. Right. Dedico.
So remember what you said earlier, soy contador.
Yeah, soy contador, but I'm not really. I own a business now.
Okay.
I am an accountant, but I own a business. How would I answer the question in that circumstance?
So in this situation, you could say, soy dueño de un negocio.
Soy dueño de un negocio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Soy dueño de negocio.
Muy bien.
De un negocio.
Jason, ¿qué haces aquí en Argentina?
In Argentina, voy a visitar a la hermana de mi esposa.
Bien. ¿Escuchas la música tango?
No escucho la música tango.
Bien. Muy bien. ¿De qué color es el equipo de España?
El equipo de España es rojo.
¿Y el equipo de Alemania?
El equipo de Alemania es rojo y negro.
¿Y de qué color es el equipo de Argentina?
El equipo de Argentina es azul y blanco.
Good. So in Argentina, they're going to call this color celeste.
Celeste.
Celeste, like sky, sky blue, celeste.
Oh, okay.
¿De qué color es el equipo de Brasil?
El equipo de Brasil es anaranjado. No, es what is it? Amarillo.
There you go. Muy bien. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Holanda?
El equipo de Holanda es amarillo. Anaranjado.
¿De qué color es el equipo de Bélgica?
El equipo de Bélgica es rojo y amarillo.
¿De qué color es el equipo de Francia?
El equipo de Francia es azul.
¿Y de Estados Unidos?
El equipo de Estados Unidos es blanco.
¿Y de qué color es el equipo de Nigeria?
El equipo de Nigeria es verde.
All right, read this to me.
Enrique Peña Nieto fue el presidente de México. No fue popular porque durante su presidencia se escapó el Chapo. La violencia se incrementó y la economía sufrió. ¿Te gusta Enrique Peña Nieto?
I'll ask you the questions on this one.
Oh, okay.
Jason, ¿te gusta Enrique Peña Nieto?
No me gusta Enrique Peña Nieto. Fidel Castro y Che Guevara fueron los revolucionarios que introdujeron el comunismo a Cuba y mantienen a los cubanos en la década de los
50.
50, sí.
¿Te gustan Fidel Castro y Che Guevara?
No me gusta Fidel Castro y Che Guevara.
Muy bien.
Pitbull es un rapero de Miami de ascendencia cubana. Es famoso por decir dale.
¿Te gusta Pitbull?
Sí, me gusta Pitbull. Mark Anthony y Jennifer Lopez son cantantes muy famosos, pero son conocidos por tener de las relaciones públicas más celosas y feas.
¿Te gustan Mark Anthony y Jennifer Lopez?
Sí, me gusta Mark Anthony y Jennifer Lopez. George Lopez, un cómico chicano de Los Ángeles y usa muchísimo el Spanglish en su comedia.
¿Te gusta George Lopez?
Sí, me gusta George Lopez. Cheech and Chong es un dúo de comedia activo desde los
70.
70 y muy popular entre personas que fuman marihuana.
Real quick, this word, because you said it earlier and I didn't correct it. It's not popular, it's popular.
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 ¿Te gusta Cheech and Chong?
No me gusta Cheech and Chong. Carlos Slim es el mayor empresario de México y a veces conocido como el hombre más rico del mundo.
¿Te gusta Carlos Slim?
No sé, Carlos Slim. El Papa Francisco es el primer Papa latinoamericano. Es de Argentina. Es conocido por ser
Humilde.
humilde y está renovando la popularidad de catolicismo en el mundo.
¿Te gusta el Papa Francisco?
Sí, me gusta el Papa Francisco.
Muy bien.